see, what do you look for when you evaluate yourself?
I'm always process focused, so I don't necessarily look at the result. I look at the process. For example, the interception that was thrown that got called back because of the hit on the quarterback. I look at it as, I can't control the flag or what happens. So the outcome obviously protected me, but the process, the ball should have been further in towards the hash. It was a poor throw, and so results like that, I look back and you have to be hard on yourself and say, how can I get better? I even look at the touchdown pass to Adam Thielen, and while the result was really good, I look and say, that's probably too close for comfort with how tight that safety was there. If you live by that, you're going to die by that. And so there's so many plays like those where you liked the outcome, but you have to go back and look at the process and say, how can I tighten that up so that the results in the future are what I want.
Kirk, you went on the road and tied a good football team, and yet still there were 3 roster moves that followed. Is that kind of a reminder of how high expectations are this season?
I don't know if it relates to expectations. I know the NFL, for me, stands for not for long. This is a highly competitive league. They bring in 90 guys every April, and they cut it down to 46 who dress. So you're constantly standing here looking around, doing the math, realizing that you better perform. And if you don't, sometimes it can be a very tough deal, very short leash. And that's life in the NFL. I don't think it has a whole lot to do with expectations. I think that everybody in this league is competing and fighting for their job, coaches and players. And you're just always trying to get the best possible 46 to go win football games.
Speaking of roster moves, Aldrick Robinson, you obviously played with him in Washington. Just talk about him as a player, and what kind of information about him did you maybe share with Team Brass when they were looking at him?
I like him as a player. I had a great rapport with him in Washington, and it's tough to just jump in week 3 and pick it up like you've been here since April. That's hard to do, but we're gonna get him caught up as fast as we can, and look forward to having him here. He's a great teammate. He'll be great for our locker room. Great to have a veteran presence around, and hopefully he can contribute a great deal for us.
How about his speed?
He's got great speed. He's got great movement skills. He does a good job athletically. That's a big reason why he's had such a long career.
Kirk, on those tight window throws in the red zone, does that window shrink when you are inside the red zone? Or
We've always felt like, and I guess we don't have to feel this way, it's true, there's less grass to cover. And so there's just 22 players covering a much smaller area. And I just have always felt like you have to be more decisive with your reads, very accurate. Receivers have to be detailed with their spacing, their splits, their route depths. And then obviously, defensive players, they know that it's key to hold you to a field goal. And that's part of the reason we tied the game last week was our defense on 5 trips in the red zone made them kick 4 field goals. And that's a really big deal in situational football.
Are those throws harder to make when you have the sideline as a boundary? I know you've made multiple throws like that in your career with really tight window. Or is it easier, I guess, than an open field type throw in that type of window?
I think red zone football is just, it's a tough deal. There's tight windows, and I don't know whether I'd say easier or harder. It's just you just have to be aware of the less vertical grass for a defense to have to cover. Yeah, we get snaps and we talk, and he's sitting next to me in the meetings in the morning, and we just keep trying to bring him along. We signed Brett Jones, I think a week and a half before the first game, and he was out there ready to go. So you just roll with it. This is life in the NFL, and if you're waiting to have a perfect situation or be totally comfortable, you're going to be waiting a long time.
I know you're still focused on the process, but as far as performance on Sunday, first divisional game against their main rival, is there any sort of sense of satisfaction having that performance there?
Yeah, I thought it was a great performance, and I don't really think of it individually. I think of it as an offense. I want our unit to do really well and to be explosive, and so the final product, you look back at it and you say, I felt like we did a lot of good things on offense. You can break it up and say, I think we only had 7 points later in the game. That had been late third quarter, maybe even in the fourth. I can't quite remember. And so that was something you can also look back and say, I would have loved to have been more explosive throughout the game as opposed to more concentrating it late in the game. And we want to be an offense that can strike at any time, but that will also be a threat from the first quarter all the way through the last.
Talk about that final piece. You guys need to get more of the run game.
anytime you can run the football, it helps. I don't know that there are a lot of teams that are just able to line up, run the ball on first and second down, and just, rarely take to the air and win games. It's just not life in the NFL. So we're going to be balanced. We're going to get everyone involved in the game, and there are a lot of different ways we can be creative, running the football, throwing the football, and we'll try to be as multiple as we can be all season long to keep defenses on their toes.
Kirk, the protection in the second half seemed to hold up, especially on the Davis throw, getting the time to get that off. How important was that, and what can you carry over this week?
It was great protection. Was really proud of the O-line, the way they battled. I think that's a really good front in Green Bay with some big time players who have played a lot of football. So was pleased with it. And week in, week out is a challenge in the NFL with some of the pass rushers you face and how stout those guys are. And we're going to ask a lot of our O-line week in and week out, and they're just going to keep working and keep doing their absolute best. And I thought that so far these first 2 weeks, I think they've gotten us off to a great start.
Kirk, from the Chiefs seats, it looked like you had a great feel for the rush. A lot of times you're going, oh my God, he doesn't see the guy behind him. Obviously, you felt for that. How do you train for that? What is it that you know about that? Because there are a lot of times when you thought, oh my God, he doesn't see this guy, but
Yeah.
sacked and you did.
Yeah, I think it's important not to get too much depth in your drop. We don't want to get deep enough where when the tackle does run the defensive end by, the defensive end's still able to make a play. So it's important to get your drop but not get too much depth. Step up when you can, and then not step up too much either. To sometimes you hitch in place, we call it. So you're not climbing into the rush and you're not dropping back into the rush. You're kind of settling in that true pocket. And then it's the O-line's job to preserve that pocket as long as possible, knowing that it's going to dwindle as we go. But an NFL rush is a tough deal. And, if it was just 7-on-7 with no linemen, it'd be a very different game. So managing that rush is a challenge all year long. I try to make quick decisions, get the ball out of my hand. If I feel color or see color, I try to keep two hands on it and make sure I can move around. But believe me, I'm far from perfect figuring it out, and it's a challenging deal.
Kirk, when a guy like LeBlanc had a tough day on Sunday, what's your process for kind of working him through that, kind of getting him back to where you want him to be?
I think you just get right back on the practice field, throw him the football, and in a lot of ways, act like nothing happened. Let's just go play. We know you can catch the ball. You've had a lot of opportunities through the off-season program and through training camp, and we know what you can do, and let's just get back to work. We don't need to dwell on it, and I think it's something that we can just move on from. We don't have to dwell on it a whole lot.
From an aggressiveness standpoint, what do you see out of Buffalo's front seven? It seems like they can really send a lot of guys and try to mask what they're doing.
Yeah, I see a very talented defense. I believe the results in the first 2 weeks were more predicated on them starting with lousy field position that had nothing to do with their defense than the actual outcome had to do with their defensive front holding up. I think they have a very good front. I think they showed that last year, having been a playoff team, taking the Jaguars all the way to the final play in the playoffs. So we have great respect for them, and we know we're going to have to be at our absolute best to have a chance because it is a really good front, and they're a very attacking and aggressive defense.